Rosalynn Carter, mental health activist, humanitarian and former First Lady, dies at 96. Rosalynn Carter, who as First Lady worked tirelessly on behalf of mental health reform and professionalized the role of the president's spouse, died Sunday at the age of 96, according to the Carter Center. Rosalynn Carter passed away peacefully with family by her side at her home in Plains, Georgia, the center said in a statement. Rosalynn was my equal partner in everything I ever accomplished, her husband, former President Jimmy Carter, said. She gave me wise guidance and encouragement when I needed it. As long as Rosalynn was in the world, I always knew somebody loved and supported me. The Carter Center announced Friday that the former First Lady had entered hospice care. She was diagnosed with dementia in May. Her husband began home hospice care in February, following a series of hospital stays. Jimmy Carter was defeated in a landslide by Ronald Reagan 4 years after being elected. His single term in the White House included forging a rare peace agreement between Israel and Egypt that continues to this day, but it was also marked by soaring inflation and the Iran hostage crisis. Through it all, Rosalynn was by his side, and often whispering in his ear. The Carters redefined and revolutionized the post-presidency and, through their joint efforts, they worked on world peace and human rights on behalf of the Carter Center, a non-governmental Atlanta-based organization founded to wage peace, fight disease, and build hope. First Lady Jill Biden celebrated Rosalynn Carter's life on Sunday, telling service members and their families at a Naval Station Norfolk holiday event, "The former First Lady Rosalynn Carter has just passed. And she was well known for her efforts on mental health and caregiving and women's rights. And so I hope that during the holidays you'll include the Carter family in your prayers," Jill Biden said. President Joe Biden praised the Carter family while speaking to reporters after the holiday event. "They're really an incredible family because they brought so much grace to the office," he said. Former President George.W. Bush and former First Lady Laura Bush similarly praised Rosalynn Carter as a woman of dignity and strength. There was no greater advocate of President Carter, and their partnership set a wonderful example of loyalty and fidelity. She leaves behind an important legacy in her work to destigmatize mental health. We join our fellow citizens in sending our condolences to President Carter and their family, the pair said in a joint statement. After leaving the White House, the couple traveled to hot spots around the world, including visits to Cuba, Sudan, and North Korea, monitoring elections and working to eradicate guinea worm disease and other neglected tropical diseases. Jimmy Carter won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2002. The Carter Center is a shared legacy. "She's been there digging latrines right next to him," said the Carters' friend Jill Stuckey, a leader at Maranatha Baptist Church, where both Carters attended and where Jimmy Carter taught Sunday school. Rosalynn Carter's most lasting individual legacy will be her efforts to diminish the stigma attached to people with mental illnesses and her fight for parity and access for mental health treatment. She also devoted her time to the Rosalynn Carter Institute for Caregiving at her alma mater, Georgia Southwestern State University, to help families and professional caregivers living with disabilities and illnesses. In 1999, then-President Bill Clinton presented both Carters with the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the country's highest civilian honor. He said they had done more good things for more people in more places than any other couple on earth. Rosalynn and Jimmy Carter shared what many would call a true American story and a genuine lifelong partnership. In 2015, when the 39th president announced his brain cancer diagnosis, he was asked of which accomplishment he was proudest. He did not hesitate to say that it was marrying Rosalynn. "That's the pinnacle of my life." He shared at another point the secret of his enduring marriage. "Rosalynn has been the foundation for my entire enjoyment of life. First of all, it's best to choose the right woman, which I did. And secondly, we give each other space to do our own things," he told Jake Tapper on CNN's The Lead in July 2015. It was likely that Eleanor Rosalind Smith would cross paths with Jimmy Carter in their small hometown of Plains, Georgia. They grew up at a time when candy cost a nickel and everyone in town knew one another. Occasionally someone would open a restaurant, but it would never last very long, Rosalynn wrote in her memoir, First Lady from Plains. Rosalynn did not grow up with much money. Her mother was a dressmaker and her father was an automobile mechanic who died from cancer when she was 13. She helped raise her younger siblings and considered her father's death the end of her childhood. The Carters met through Jimmy's sister, Ruth, who was Rosalynn's closest friend. When Rosalynn saw a photo of Carter on Ruth's bedroom wall, she thought, "He was the most handsome man I'd ever seen." She even asked Ruth if she could take his photograph home with her. Both devout Southern Baptists, Jimmy and Rosalynn met after a church meeting and soon began dating. They were married not long after his graduation from the Naval Academy when she was 18 and he was 21. "When we got married, I think I was kin to everybody that Jimmy wasn't," Rosalynn wrote in her memoir. "Once we got married, we were kin to everybody in town." As the wife of a naval officer, Rosalynn moved frequently and she managed a large household. The Carters had 3 children in quick succession: John William, Jack, the year after their wedding in Norfolk, James Earl, Chip, 3, less than 3 years later in Hawaii, and Donnell Jeffrey, Jeff, in New London, Connecticut, in 1952. Their only daughter, Amy Lynn, was born in 1967, a year after Carter lost his first bid for Georgia governor. Jimmy Carter had been accepted to an elite nuclear submarine program but resigned his commission in Schenectady, New York, after his father died so that they could return to Plains in 1953 to look after the family farm. He decided to relocate the family without asking Rosalynn's opinion. Rosalynn was so furious that she refused to talk to him the entire drive south.